Hey, what's up, guys? I'm gonna go over features now on drawing caricatures, really standard theme park caricatures. So this is gonna be kind of a primer, just to kind of go over all of them in general. In the next few videos, I'm gonna go over how to identify which feature goes to kind of what kind of face when you're drawing caricatures in real life. So when you're drawing out in parties and theme parks, things like that, normally you're not drawing something fresh every single time. What you're doing is, I'll see like an eye type, and I'll be like, huh, that is the same eye type that I have drawn before. We're all human. There's more similar to us than not. You know what I mean? So I'll be like, I've drawn that eye. I'm going to go into the library of my mind, and I'm going to pull out that eye that I've drawn before, and I am going to draw it. I'll pull out like it's not that simple, but you'll be like, oh, that's like the 30th eye type I've drawn. I'll pull that out of my library, mix it with this nose. He has this kind of nose type. I'm going to pull that out of my library as well in different formation, and I'll be like, oh, he has this lip type that I have seen before. And I will also, like I said, you're making a new library. You make a new library usually by practicing different features and how to draw them at home, and then pulling them out within practice. So anyways, that's kind of just the broad stroke about it. But I'm going to go over some of the standard standard stuff that we did. First, let's go to the eye. The eye, some of the standard ways, no matter what you're doing, the eyelid is going to have a very thick line. Always thick line. And then the kind of the bottom of the eyelids, they're going to be much thinner. And even the kind of fold underneath the eye, those are going to be extremely thin. You got to be careful right here with the creases underneath the eyelid. The harder you put these, the older they're going to look. So eyeball, it could just be two big strokes like I just did. Leave a little bit for the highlight. And then the upper eyelid can be pretty much anything. Anything you want. But I usually use thick line would only be for the eyelid regardless, If you want to do female types, I'll do more of a really thick line. I'll really thicken the top and give them eyelashes. Never draw eyelashes on a guy, by the way. I've seen, and these are all general rules, but if you draw eyelashes on a guy, it's going to make him look a little too feminine, because I've had a lot of parents, they will say stuff like, oh, on their, let's say their child, they'll say like, hey, he's known for his like really pretty eyelashes, you should draw them in. And I'm like, no, like, I mean I won't say that, I'll do it, but it looks feminine every time. It's just too much if you're doing a standard caricature, like theme park. Since the eyelid's a little more opened, I'll open that up. When you draw the pupil of the eye, if it's black, if it's going to be black, I always draw just a circle wherever it may be located, and I'll just put a big swatch through it. Either all the way down, just kind of like, whatever looks like shine. You know what I'm saying? I know when you draw a baby, and you draw their eyes, it's best to draw several highlights. It gives it that kind of baby look. You can choose whether you want to connect the bottom eyelid up. You can choose that. Sometimes some people don't. I don't mind. And then there's kind of a crease in the middle of the eye, and that's kind of where the bridge of the nose connects to the face. This kind of gives it a better look. In terms of eye shape. The eye shape is always going to be a diamond. Always diamonds. That's just if you were to like really simplify this down and turn this into a polygon, you know, you're trying to make them look like organic diamonds. So, one last thing I'm going to go over about the eye, real quick, is I'm actually going to go over the eyebrow. And the eyebrow, really, like I said, that's just sometimes it's an afterthought. Doesn't really matter. Remember, thick line up here, thinner, thick line on the eye, on the top eyelid. If you're drawing blue eyes, put a dot in the center. Just throw a couple of lines there if you're drawing blue eyes. Eyebrows. I've seen several ways of drawing eyebrows. A couple ways I've seen to draw eyebrows. I've seen just one thick line, kind of like a chola. You know, I've seen that. And I've also seen people literally kind of look at the pattern of the eyebrow and kind of like go more. I know I said never go on the tip, but you can kind of go on the tip a little bit and slowly pull little lines to kind of make it look like an organic eyebrow. You know, make it look very more natural. But it has to hold its overall shape. When you step back, it has to make that shape. You know, it can't just be like random. And they also have to be going the exact. They also have to be going the exact. They have to be going the same direction. They have to flow. It can't just be like, bam, bam. You know, it can't just be like random like that. It has to all flow and has to just flow in kind of a similar direction to kind of make it look better. Even if they're not, even if they're just messy, because you're not drawing from real life. You're not. I mean, you're drawing from real life. You're not drawing real life. You're drawing an interpretation of real life. So, anyways, that's real quick on the eye. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to move on to the nose really quick. So, when you're drawing the nose, you have to look at... the nose is really malleable because the tip is cartilage. So, some people got downward hanging noses. You know what I mean? When they look straight at you. Right? It also depends kind of like what angle their head is, but some people have downward angled noses. Some people, it won't. Some people will be very upward. You can see their nostrils and everything. You know, some of the standard noses that we used to do is for, let's say, someone has a bigger bulbous nose. I would draw kind of a ball in the middle, darker line at the bottom. Put some, connect the nostrils up to the center of the nose, the ball of the nose. And then put a C over here and a C over here. Right? And they're going to have the, I think it's a philtrum of the nose, a philtrum of the mouth, kind of come out the bottom. And they're going to have a bridge, maybe a small bridge of the nose, that kind of, where the cartilage meets with the bone of the face. So that would be a very standard one. The other standard one I use is if, let's say they have a really long nose. I'd hit that landmark. The landmarks of the nose would be obviously the wings of the nostrils. It's really just three. Wings of the nostrils and then the ball of the nose. Let's say they got a really crazy witch nose kind of thing. And so a lot of people do, which is fine. I got a very triangular nose. Mine would probably look like that. You know, and then you're going to put, some people have this little bump, and the bump is where the cartilage kind of meets the bone of the skull. You've seen that in skulls. You know, they always have that. Sorry, this isn't, I'm not trying to draw a skull, I'm just trying to show you what I'm talking about. Like the skull, you know, that cavity right there, that is where the cartilage just went away. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it begins right here. I'm trying to indicate this bone is kind of like that. Some people have that bump, some people don't. Look at that bump as well. But like I said, the three main landmarks would be wings of the nostrils, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then however big the nose is, 3. Look at the shape as well. That's something that I didn't catch on till later. Like, really look at the shape, because so the wings of the nostrils, let's say that's a little round. Some people have more of a kind of a square shape, depending on, because it's kind of 2 bulbs inside the nose. I'm not going to go over the anatomy, but I mean right now. But some people have kind of like 2 kind of bulbous shapes, so it could be square. Sometimes the wings of the nostrils are very square, and this has kind of a rounder shape to it as well. You know, you're going to have to play around with different types, and you're going to have to look at different nose types. And I'm going to do that in the next video. I'm going to look at photos. I'm going to try to get better photos than last time, guys. And I'm going to go over what's the difference. Since this is a part caricature, we never really drew profiles, so I'm not really going to go over profiles. There's another video for that. But I'm talking about doing theme parks or working at parties. These are really this kind of standard noses that I came across. From children to adults to babies. There's another thing about the proportions of the head that I didn't go over that I'm going to go over in the next video. But let's go right into the mouth. So when you look at the mouth is made up of 4 parts. I'm going to go over this real quick because I have a whole separate video for the mouth. But the mouth, when you look at it, very flatly. The lower lip is made up of 2 like fatty pads, and then the upper portion is made up of these 3 kind of triangular shapes. If you look at it straight forward, and so there's kind of there's a dip above. I believe it's the philtrum. And let me see. Sorry about that. I'm gonna edit this out. So when you do that, okay, so normally when we draw a mouth, we're drawing very cartoony. We're drawing a very cartoony mouth. So, but knowing how to draw a real mouth is invaluable. When I draw a mouth, I'm thinking about those parts. There's this fatty pad right here, this one right here, this triangular shape I am thinking about, and then these other triangular shapes I am also thinking about. You know? So when I'm drawing it, this is all consciously in my mind. One easy way to remember that would be that formation. Center triangle, if you're looking at it straight forward. Those 3 triangles would be a very, very simplified way to think about the lips facing forward. And again, we're talking about in general. And the bottom lip, 2 fatty pads. That'd be a very, very kind of easy way. And everybody's lips are so different. But those are very broad. Because some people don't have this split in the lip. Some people just have this bottom lip very, round. Some people have very thin lips, so we're going to go over that right now. So when I look at, I'm going to show you the standard shapes we had for lips. So some of the standard shapes we had, and we're drawing very cartoony, is if they had a thin lips, I would literally just draw that. That's it, right below the nose. It'd be like a straight line, thin line indicating the lower part of the lip, really quick. For women, draw that triangle there, continuing to draw that line. The upper lip kind of looks like a bow. I've heard it called many, many times. Kind of compared to a bow. Looks like a bow and arrow, right? You know, like it's shooting upward. Looks kind of like a bow and arrow. Has that shape. So, it's honestly all the lips that we've drawn were variations of that. One of the bigger things that we kept in mind, and this is again just a standard for our lip types, is men, you would not often draw their entire lower lip. You would just draw a line. If you're drawing the lips, a male lower lip, you wouldn't draw the whole thing all the way through because it looked too feminine. It would look like lipstick. What we would do for that type, if you want to make it a man, is you would draw kind of a thick line, but like here, just the bottom, and that's it. Don't connect it. You could connect the top, but just don't connect the bottom. And there's different lip types. You can squish them together. They're malleable. You can take that type, make it really, more squished together. Kind of draw secondary lines to make it seem different. If they're smiling, that is let's say they have a big, cheeky smile, we would also draw that significant shape. Let's say they're smiling. These are the sides of their cheeks, let's say. I'll draw sides of the cheeks, they ball up, right? When you smile. You gotta come up with your standard shape of lips. That could be one way. One thing I would do as well is I would show their teeth a lot. You could mess around with the lines. What is the reason and rhyme and reason behind me making the lines jaggedy like that? I didn't really consciously do that. It's kind of the scrunching up of when people do smile. The muscles do tense up. So I just kind of chose this zigzag pattern to put on the side of their face. And I would draw maybe their teeth exposed with thinner lines on the teeth. Smaller detail is with, I guess you do have to get on the tip. You can do more on the tip. Smaller detail kind of brings the drawing together sometimes. So when you're drawing the teeth, you'd put the outside kind of a darker line when you're drawing the outer contour of the teeth. But then the inner, you will draw a little bit more on the tip. A little bit more. Not totally. But that brings it together. This thin line separates, it's separate from the thick line. The smaller details are thinner and smaller lines. Anyways, we're drawing the teeth in the mouth. The teeth, when you see them, they're not going to be like flat like that. See how every particular tooth is spaced evenly? It's not going to be like that. The teeth is actually a cylinder. So when you smile, the teeth are, they're going to pull away from us, right? Because it's a cylinder we're looking at going back into space. So as the teeth get to the side of the mouth, they're going to get closer together. More like so. So when you're drawing, that's actually one of the bigger kind of, when you separate beginners from intermediate. You're drawing the teeth, but then they're getting smaller and going back into space. They're going backwards into space, as opposed to being flat all the way across. So this is right. This is wrong. Remember that for the tooth cylinder. And anyways, if you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, I know I'm running through this really quick, and please leave questions down below in the comments. I'm gonna move on to ears. Each one of these subjects is probably gonna get its own video later on, but I'm just kind of running through it. So when you're drawing ears, we're drawing them from the front. So let's say this is the head shape, whatever it is, circle. you know, which I'm just putting as a placement device. The ears are going to be, honestly, I've seen all kinds of different ear types that I've seen guys do. You can do whatever you want. It can be as simple as this. You can just do that. It's kind of cartoony. Or you could do, some guys will do a little bit more. You'll put the two wings of the ear, the lobe, and it'll be the top portion. You can do that. The ears is probably one of the things that I've seen people change the most. You can do almost anything you want, really. You can put a little check mark inside, a little lesser than sign. I've seen so many different versions of the ear. It's kind of an afterthought. It feels really bad to even say that, but it kind of is, especially when you're drawing when you're drawing 5-minute drawings. You know what I mean? They could just be afterthoughts. And they're going to be looking forward all the time. You're not going to be drawing them in profile. We're drawing we're drawing 4 parties here. So, that is a very quick, ears, they also don't differ very much. Some people might have a little more of a point to their ears, but those do not vary much at all. So, in the next video, I'm going to go over pictures, and I'm going to compare them with how you find out how you draw their features. And I'm going to go over features specifically. And then after that, I'm going to go over how you put it all together. So, please stay tuned for the next video, and see you guys in a bit.